Hello everyone. So today I wanted to show you what try catch is in Java and how we can use it. So try catch is a useful thing for helping us deal with exceptions in Java because exceptions can be a huge pain, but sometimes we don't want our program to completely crash if we have an exception. We want to deal with that, and that's what try catch allows us to do. So first I'm going to create a scanner and I'm going to call it scanner, and we're going to make it equal to a new scanner from uh, system.in. So just like the console window, like we've done many times before, but you're going to see it says scanner cannot be resolved to type. So before I've always clicked it, but I just wanted to demonstrate that there's another way. If you ever have a problem, Visual Studio and whatever IDE you're probably using will show you this right here, and it will let you usually do a quick fix, and you can see right here I can import scanner and it will do it for me. So that's just another way you can import something if say you forgot to or whatever happened. So now let's try doing how we would have done it before. So number equals scanner.next int, just like we've done before, and then we could print that out. So number, and then of course if we this would work. Oh, I might have forgotten to close the scanner, but that's okay. If we type in something that's other not a number, we get this input mismatch exception. So how do we make our program not crash? So what we could do instead is, you'll see if I hover over this, it says it throws an input mismatch exception, a no such element exception, and an illegal state exception. So these are all exceptions that this next int thing can throw. So that means there will be things that can crash our program. And if I want to deal with this properly, what I can do instead of just running scan next int, I could actually instead try and then create a little scope right here. And then we could create this inside of here. And of course, since this is inside of a scope, we're not going to be able to access this anymore. So I want to create this number outside of the scope, and we'll set it equal to 0. And then we'll say number equals this.nextInt, number.nextInt, and then we're going to need to catch some of these exceptions. So let's see if we get, so the way this works is you type in catch, you put parentheses, and you do the name of each exception. And one of the things that kind of sucks about this is you can't guarantee the names of all the exceptions that can be thrown from that function. This person, or Java, has given us the documentation and told us, but sometimes you can't always depend on being able to see all the possible exceptions that can be thrown. Anyways, we're going to get an input mismatch exception, and you could call it input mismatch exception, you could call it ignored. In this case, I'm going to call it ignored because we're going to ignore it. And we're going to go println value did not work. Something like that. Maybe we want a capital V as well. And then I'm going to close that scanner real quick too. So let's try this. And we're going to see if I type in this, it says value did not work. And it still works our program because we have that initial value of 0. So that made our program not crash. And this is not the best way in general to use try catch. You could also just type in exception here, and this would make it do just any general exception, so that way we don't have to count for it. This is also a lot of times not the best way to do it. So I'm going to go back to that input mismatch exception. We're going to treat it as an input mismatch exception, and we're calling it ignored. And we could actually print out our exception like this, and we're going to see what happens if we do that. And then we type in a bad input, and you're going to see it gives us the name of the exception right here whenever we try printing it out. So those are some of the ways we can do exceptions. And let's say we wanted to account for multiple exceptions. We could do no such element exception. I'm going to copy that name right now. So catch. Let's do the closed one instead. We'll do, where is it? Yeah, a legal state exception if this scanner is closed. So we'll do this one. So legal, I'll just type it out, it's fine. Legal state exception. And we'll call this one, and instead of ignored, that's probably not a great name here, we'll call it input mismatch exception. Or you could just call it exception, honestly. Okay, input mismatch exception. So here we need to import this as well. So I'll call it exception. I lied, we do not have to import that, and then we could print out that one as well if we wanted to. This is probably not the best way to deal with an exception. You'd want to do it better, and I'll show you in the next video how we can deal with exceptions better. So we're doing that, and let's try making that next exception happen. So we're running this close right here, and we're gonna get that illegal state exception because you can see right here, our scanner was closed, so what is it supposed to do? So that is how we can use try-catch to deal with exceptions. Um, One more thing I do want to show you with try-catch is the finally block. And what this is going to do is basically, this is the set of code that's just going to run no matter what. So it's going to do try, catch, and then finally, this is going to be the last thing that runs. I could put this inside of this finally block, and you'll see right here that it's also going to get run in much the same way. So we're going to say 2, and it printed out 3. Let's say we did have an exception, D. It also still printed out, and it printed out our number right here. So that's how finally works. A lot of times people also just don't have a finally block. It's basically just a random scope, honestly. So there's a little bit more to that, and I think it would be a great idea to learn more about exceptions in try-catch because it can get pretty complicated. These are just the basics of how you can deal with this and some of the basic ways you can deal with these exceptions using try-catch. So that's about it, and in the next video I'm going to show you how we can combine our while loops with these exception catching to catch exceptions in case the user inputs, say, a wrong value.